welcome to my stream. Today we are doing the Purple Room Frogcast, as usual for my YouTube. Um, we will be once again starting in Japan, which is just where we normally start, of course. Japan is an okay nation, however, it is the weakest nation in Asia, um, despite having what is a relatively free game. He has also chosen to not state his land for some reason, and this land is lovely for stating. Maybe he's planning on destating to form something. I don't know. However, what I do know is he needs to ditch independent daimyo, and he needs to become a theocratic thingamajiggy, which you can do by doing this, and then this. And then you get super OP reforms here. So like, where's the dev cost one? 5% dev cost here, you got 10% morale. And then you got the so high, which gives you 5% discipline, 5% combat ability, and some shitty mercenary manpower. It's just some really strong stuff overall that you want to rush through. You'll also probably want to go for monastic order so that you can take the public elections one, which allows you to use what is basically States General. I'm not sure why you've given anything to Portugal. I guess maybe for the goods produced bonus. Um, in terms of a trade deal, this is a fairly shitty one for you because um, you're only making 43 ducats from it. When you're losing a lot more because of the Hangzhou leaks. Um, but yeah, Japan is an okay nation, but it could be a lot better if he'd have killed Chu a lot earlier. Um, And if he'd have devved a bit more, because if we look at this stuff, there's still a lot of land here he hasn't devved, a lot of land here he hasn't devved, lots of stuff in Japan he still hasn't devved, and none of his Manchu land has actually been devved, and he's getting scammed out of his trade deals, so it's just unfortunate, as one could say. In terms of build up, he's got a decent amount of manufactories. You still want to build these, the iron ones, of course. You want to save these for soldiers' households, of which you've got very few. Um, yeah, it's just an okay nation overall. Um, and I'm not sure why you're embargoing Bukhara, but whatever. Trade setup is very scuffed because Portugal is having it all for some reason. Um, Probably would make more if you just did a trade deal with Nepal or something. But yeah, Japan has just had a very free game. Just sat back, done nothing, killed Chu, who was half their strength. Um, and yeah, that was about it. Built all of these. Hasn't built many regimental camps at all. Hasn't built any of his training fields. Got a lot of build up to do, which is going to be the theme of this episode. Build up. Uh, do it, please. Thank you for the shitstream comment, Turgle Pelivan. I really do appreciate you coming there. Um, However, unlike last session, he's not doing the cheesy thing where he slaps on all the manpower edicts at the end of the session because he finally realised making more money in these times is more important. Um, Ooh, that's actually really pog. He's getting up his nobility power, which is always a good idea. Yeah, I showed Booba on my stream. That's how I got so many viewers yesterday. No, but a dumb idiot hosted me, so I got a load of views. Yeah, is Shinto just best religion? Blah, blah. I'm not sure how the fuck there's Shia in Beijing at all, but I guess this game is gaming. Um, yeah, Japan's just an okay nation. I'm going to have a look at Shu because bro, tag church. Because I want to discuss what happened with them. What happened to Chu was they declared a war on Japan. They got fully sieged, 100%ed, yada yada yada, you know the business. Then they lost what is in effect one, two, 6 provinces. Not sure, there might be decent amount of dev in these 6 provinces. But quitting over losing just that, just instantly quitting, when beforehand you quit when you didn't even quit when you lost a gold mine. You know, it's just shameful, honestly. Um, but I guess you are kind of dead if Bukhara doesn't want to help you, so it does make sense to do so. But if Bukhara was willing to help, or anyone really, I believe you would have been an actually alive nation. I'm not sure why Nepal hasn't eaten into you. You probably should, just because it's more land and this CM money will actually increase his income by a decent amount. Um, but yeah, Chu is just, it's also got 213k manpower, so it's like probably better than the Ottomans, and definitely better than France. But yeah, next nation on the list is going to be Nepal. He's done it, the mad lad, he's done it. His main culture is Tamil, and he has Nepali ideas. Which leaves him in an extraordinarily good position. He's also got very good income because he went trade ideas. I honestly regret going religious because I'm so fucking poor. But sometimes you have to do it. Now he's got these missions instead of his old ones. So I'm guessing he went through all the Bengali mission tree. Deved what he could using their ideas. And then, let me reset this music. And then once he had filled his missions out, he formed Nepal and went to Mel, which is really just the play to do in India, no matter what country you are. However, he's got lots of AI to eat still because of Chu being dead. He can eat into South China, he can eat the rest of Siam, and he can become even bigger in dev. And I'd say Nepal is at the moment the strongest country in terms of just pure power available to him. However, he is doing the meme of having all of his edicts on. However, he's had them on for ages. So I guess Coolio. I'm not sure what this split is with Milwar, but it's very strange. And I think the next course of action after eating all of Chu is to kill Milwar, now that Ottomans is dead, and to cut off Bukhara from getting any of the land. Because if Bukhara gets into India, you're going to have an issue because Bukhara is hugboxing with Russia. However, of course, it's always up to you what you want to do with your game. He's built all of his manufactories, essentially. He's just got 3 soldiers' households to build, and he is fully built. He's got a very good amount of training fields, still some he could build. And in terms of deving, there's only a little bit more he needs to get to 20 to be an ideal country. Like this state here is good. This stuff isn't too hot, but it's definitely doable to dev to at least 10. Given the nerfs to the jungle dev cost, because it's only 20% dev cost now, which is same as fucking, it's even better than hills now, Jesus. But yeah, it's just still more deving you can do. If you'd have done what I said last session and jacked up the advisors early game instead of late game, you would be fully devved by now. Also, fucking hell, 666 is in India, man. It's crazy. Now, I don't know what the estate meta is, but I'm gonna guess you're doing it correctly. Although I'm not sure why the Vashiyas have so much. Do they give you anything? What's this give you? Advisor cost? Loyalty thingies. This is just loyalty. The Marathras give you... it's the Marathras that give you the... Oh, that gives you scaling discipline. Okay, that's insane. And increased levies, Jesus Christ. So he just sells on cooldown, devs away what's left of the Jains, and he gets plus manpower and plus discipline. Balanced estates, by the way. Yeah, this is the first time I've actually looked at the Indian estates, and I'm guessing it's because he is Tamil culture that he's got access to these guys. But who knows? What you can probably do is flip to get rid of Defender Faith, and then flip to Sikh, and then flip to Sunni, and then form Deccan for their missions, which would give him a decent power spike. whilst not nerfing his ideas if he decides to take them, which personally I wouldn't, because I love the fort defense in Nepali ideas, and with the amount of fucking forts you have just spammed all over your country, you're going to want that fort defense. I'm also not sure why you're bothering mothballing them at the moment when you've got 14k in the bank with a balance of 400. Nearly fully built on universities, so he's got a very good chance to spawn Enlightenment. Watch out, Europeans, of which there are only 3 that I dev'd. 3.5. So it's just Nepal is probably the strongest country here. In terms of let's see what his he's got 95 cannons for some reason. Um, Split up, which is not ideal. He's also still using his trade company memes, which I personally think you just get rid of, so you have more stated land, which is just better overall, especially in terms of deving, because you can, actually dev this. Because at the moment it says 0% autonomy, but as soon as the month ticks, it'll be 90% autonomy because it's trade company. You'll lose a bit of money short term if you do this. However, at the moment, what are your merchants doing? You have a fucking merchant in Chengdu. It's just not worth it. Okay. Um, But yeah, you've got too many merchants at the moment. You can do with a couple less by just stating these lands. Collecting Moluccas, that's actually a pretty good play here, the amount you're making from it, because of how much Malacca and Bengal leaks. If you had a bit more power in Malacca, you could maybe embargo GB or something, or kick him. What the fuck is Ethiopia here? And how has GB not eaten this? Yeah, I don't know. Oh well. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on in this region at all. But you should have eaten into Chew the moment he left, in my opinion. But oh well. Next country on the list is Mewar. Mewar is the youngest sibling of Nepal and about a quarter as strong. They've still got this giant ass Multan vassal that ideally you want to annex 100 years ago. He's behind in ideas massively. This only one idea in offensive is really fucking bad for him. However, it makes sort of sense because Ottomans decided to int their game fighting you in their worst tech, so you've had to repel them. However, you've got decent income, decent-ish advisors. I'm not sure why you're running this, or why you're going dip focus whilst you're so behind in ideas, or why you're running your policies at all. I'm not sure if Mawar wants to form anything. Maybe Mawar wants to form Deccan, but he is not the correct primary culture for it, because he is still Rastafani when he wants to be Canada for that. In terms of estates, he does not have the scaling discipline and manpower of Nepal because he has a worse culture group. What he has, however, is a special unit force limit, which is effectively useless, that scales with the amount of land he has. Mewar is probably going to die to Nepal. I just don't see this Mewar surviving. It has not played well enough. It has not scaled hard enough to survive Nepal. Nepal's balance is higher than Mewar's total income. That's pretty crazy. But yeah, next country on the list is Bukhara. Bukhara is the black sheep of the world, choosing to cav meme instead of do anything else really. He's got 100% drilled cavalry stacks, which gives him plus 20% shock damage and minus 25% shock damage received, whilst also having some fairly decent pips because he is Eastern Tech. I think he wants to form Yuan, but I'm not entirely sure. What does he need for that? He needs more of the Mongol land, so you will need to fight Japan if you want to do that. However, you are a lot stronger than Japan at the moment. And with the scenario of last session that I proposed of 1v1 between Bukhara and Japan, you still win that because you've got a lot more manpower, you've got better income, you're not relying on subsidies for income, so you can take more loans. Your estates are very janky though. I'm not sure why would you ever give them monopoly on anything. Oh man, it's just that's just money you're throwing down the drain. You revoke that and you get more money from your paper. Now I know you don't have money paper provinces. Like, in fact, how many fucking paper provinces do you even have? I don't. I don't even know. I know there's one in Prague. So I know there's not one. What the fuck is paper? I don't know. But just don't bother with them at all. They're shit. You got a decent amount of fur here that you haven't devved. In fact, in terms of deving, hardly any is done. However, what Bukhara does have is a lot of soldiers' households, which boosts up his manpower by a shit ton. And a lot of manufactories, which boosts up his income. So it makes up for the lack of deving done. There's still a lot of land that you can dev here. Like all of this steppe land here, it's basically the same as dry lands to dev, but it gives you better results. And you have indeed completed Silk Road effectively, having half of Persia and all of Samarkand. I'm not sure why you're not collecting in here at the moment. That's a nice tasty couple of ducats you could use. And you can probably get rid of the Lhasa trade node here to collect there, and you'd make more money overall. Or of course you could do the Chad thing and move your main trade node to Persia, which I think is the ideal play now that Ottomans is dead and gone. And you could steer from Beijing to Persia. It's just the ideal setup here. However, Mewar probably wants to contest you for that Persian land, however you are a lot stronger, so... I am impressed with Bukhara, from shitty Uzbek that's hardly buffed, to this, you know, that's hugboxing sure, but who cares about that? You've got shit ton of manpower, do you have a coastal province? I think he had a coastal province or something. I don't know, maybe he gave it to he gave it to a vassal, I see, okay. But yeah, he had a coastal province for the first time in the game. Only issue is how the estates are set up. You just want to dev a bunch more, get to 100% crown land, and then you want to start revoking this and giving it back. And you'll give them a bunch of land. You can keep selling on cooldown, and only they will get land because only they have land, which leaves you just in better position overall. But yeah, there's not much deving done in Asia aside from in Nepal, basically. There's a tiny bit done in Mewar, and a decent amount done in Japan, but not enough. The countries are all relatively behind. The only reason Bukhara has such a high manpower pool is because of the fact that he's built everything, which is what I honestly should have been doing, but I haven't built anything in the past 3 sessions. Really making use of his Hanover ideas. Next country is Russia. Russia is contender for strongest with Nepal. And they have spent this session brutalizing the Turks, and making a giant Chungari vessel. It's honestly sort of disturbing how quickly they've fucked up Ottomans, but we don't blame him. Sometimes shit happens. You've got a lot of forts for some reason, however you've got really fucking good income because of the trade ideas and the running of the policies. I'm not sure why you're over your military leaders, or why you wasted your missions fighting this dead Ottomans. You didn't need them. This Ottomans, you could have been in 1v1 without my help, without your mission's help. But yeah, sometimes stuff happens. Quickly, whilst we're looking at this, I wanna just talk about the war. For a second, where is this shit? Wars ledger. So you've got the this war here, which is calling in me, in which between us and because of a maneuver I did, we wiped 300,000 Turkish troops because he tried to push past this fort with only 2 cannon stacks, and he engaged both of them. I assaulted the fort and then just started wiping his troops. It was really funny, to be honest. However, the fact that you have so many forts is just kind of disturbing. Also, he's focusing more in the moment in building manufactories over building soldiers' households, which is a giant mistake in my opinion. Like, later on when you get coal, your income is not going to be an issue at all. Like, look how much fucking coal there is in your land. You got this, this, this. You'll have that. That's Bukhara's. I'd say like the play for Russia here is to backstab Bukhara. But that's just my personal opinion. I'm not sure what exactly will be done, but um, Russia's a lot stronger than it was, basically. Um, and he's got a shit ton of land as well to eat because he's killed Ottomans this session. Yeah, stop with the fucking generals. Get better advisors for Christ's sake. Um, how are you? Oh yeah, because of the military leaders. But look, you're making more mill points, and you pump this up to 5, and you're making 12 mill points. It's genius, and then you can dev more because it's the middle of your golden era, which ends in 15 years, and you're still not fully devved from it, which is a bit yikey, nice, given the amount of steps and stuff you have to dev here. Like seriously, Russia is so good for deving, man. Yeah, like it's only 18 to dev without even the edict, and with loyal burghers. Also, why would you give the monopolies away? Please, I beg you. Why? Ah, 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 bruh. It's just not worth it, like, ever, okay? Like, I guess you might be stacking for, like, max mercantilism or something, but you're nowhere near it, and it's not worth it. Please, don't do this. Um, let's have a look at buildings values. He's built a lot of his manufactories. However, he's built a lot of them on bad goods that you don't really want to build them on. I guess what he was trying to do was go for trading in grain or something. Trading for, which gives him 20% force limit, but he doesn't need it. What the fuck? Why is his force limit so small? I guess he's not built like any regimental camps. Yeah, that makes sense. And also he doesn't have Bukhara, which Russia at this time normally would have. However, something interesting to point out is he's going to have a shit ton of training fields built in a couple of months, which should bump his manpower up by a mark. And also, as mentioned before, Nepal has his artificially inflated by him having all of the edicts on, whilst Russia doesn't have any of them on. He's just got dev cost and defensive. Oh, that's a lot of talking. Next nation on the list is going to be France. This um, this is a prime example of how not to play France. Okay, don't let your crown land tick to 0 whilst at war. I beg you, just don't do it. And if you do, please just dev it away, because this France has done like 0 deving. There's so much deving possible. Unfortunately, he's out of his golden era, whilst Spain is in theirs. The only reason we won the last war was because Spain couldn't be asked to build a second cannon stack, and so we were able to maneuver a lot more freely. The only thing France has is income. That's it. There's nothing else for his country. That's seriously, there's nothing else. He's got the worst manpower in the game. He's got the worst force limit in the game, and he has the worst autonomy in the game. Where's that? Economic. And also he has pretty decent quality, but worse than mine because he didn't go religious. He went trade. He's also got a really fucking good rule at the moment, which is a giant shame given what's happening to his country. Like, if you look at this front, he's 1500 dev, you know. I'm only like 700 more dev than him, but I have 3 times the troops. It's just, it's a shame honestly what happened to this France. But he got a really bad sub in a very crucial session and got fucked over because of it. But yeah. I don't think we win the next war, but we can make them bleed. But yeah, build up is fairly poor to be expected. A lot of soldiers' households to build. Lots of workshops still to build. Honestly, you still want to be collecting in Bordeaux, simply because you're losing like 40 ducats to the vassals here. But yeah, he can't win a 1v1 against Spain, and I can't win a 1v1 against Portugal, so it's not going to be feasible. Because I'm going to actually look at the colonies for the first time ever in a Frogcast, simply because I want to showcase exactly how strong they are at the moment, and showcase exactly why they shouldn't be this fucking strong. But yeah, so for France, probably dead by next session, which is unfortunate. Also, Dalmatia making a comeback, PogChimp. But yeah, I'm purposely ignoring my own nation, by the way, because I want to go over exactly how not to play the game with mine. Spain, double the manpower of Ottomans, double the income of not Ottomans, France. Double the manpower of France, double the force limit of France, double the everything of France, honestly. They've got the same amount of ideas in defensive, but it's not going to save France. And it will save Spain, however. Because if you look at this, Spain has 270k troops, France has 200k, whilst, you know, over his force limit, whilst this Spain's barely over. And also, somehow you've managed to convince fucking Songhai to march their entire army into Iberia. It's just such a fucking Papega thing for Songhai to do, when they've got their own wars they should be fighting, like fucking Congo or some shit. Or, you know, actually eating the rest of Ethiopia. Going into Hormuz, going into Mamluks, going into Ottomans. There's just so much stuff Songhai should be doing, but they're just wasting their time helping Spain. Which is going to be really hypocritical when we look at my own nation, because that's exactly what I fucking did. However, I'm acknowledging it, and he's not. Songhai. Songhai is stronger than Spain. They have a lot more force limit, they have a lot more troops, they have a lot more manpower. They are further ahead in offensive ideas. And they have about... actually, no. I think... How bad are these pips? It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13... I'm just counting pips, not doing anything else. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. You have 2 pips less than Spain at the moment. However, I still think you can probably beat Spain in a clean 1v1. Simply because Spain is still 15% of the way to bankruptcy, whilst you're not, basically. You've got your own income, you don't rely on subsidies, don't rely on anyone, just rely on yourself. Big man. But fighting for Spain against France is just not recommended. Just fuck off your troops back home, in my opinion. And also, you're breaking the alliance rules. You're allied to too many people. But yeah, I'd say this is the third strongest African country we've seen in Purple Room. With obviously Cookie's Kilwa being number 1, and Smeeve's Songhai being number 2. Even though Smeeve went hard into Europe. But that doesn't really matter. Yeah, Songhai is decently strong, could be a lot stronger. And would be a lot stronger if he spent his time fighting for himself. But yeah, Congo. Congo is a dead nation, okay? Like, I've been saying this several sessions now, but Congo's dead. He's on 0 deving. He's expanded very little. He's at the mercy of his neighbours, which is dead, basically. He still doesn't have full religious somehow. 170 income, he's got like a third the income, a third the resources of Congo. Really shit advisor setup. Estate setup. Running really poor advisors as well for some reason, with admin focus when you want to go mill focus 100% here. This country just... there's nothing it can do really. There's no way to catch up to Songhai because you just sat there doing nothing the entire game. But so is he, and he's been using his nothingness to build up. Also, you're cut off from Ethiopia, so you're just done expanding, you're just done for the game, there's nothing you can do now. Which is kind of depressing to think about, you know? you're delegated to being the weakest nation, even though your stats are probably slightly better than France's at the moment. In fact, no, France is better than you because he's got better income and slightly better manpower. But yeah, Congo's just dead, honestly. I'm gonna look at Ottomans, even though I know they're dead. Yeah, it's just gonna chain bankrupt at this point. He decided to truce break Russia when he was 100k in debt without being able to take more loans, so he just bankrupted again. And instantly lost. However, at least he's got a good estate set up. Yeah. But yeah, what happened was Ottomans decided on the tech that is absolutely worse for them to be fighting on, you know, Tech 18, where their pips are fucking awful. Yeah, you have the worst pips in the world at the moment. He decided to fight Miwar, whilst Miwar's pips, because if you think about it, it's he's still fighting with these pips, whilst Miwar was fighting with, if we look at this, Miwar was fighting with these pips. So it's just fucked all around, and not a time you want to be fighting at all. Especially given how you're not 100% diplomatically safe from Russia and Bukhara, given how as soon as you went bankrupt they carved you up like a piece of pie. You also lost Tyrol somehow. How did that happen? Did I do that? Anyway, he's dead. Next nation. Portugal. Portugal is the epitome of do nothing, get rewarded. Given how he has spent his entire game cultivating all of South America, Mexico, and Cuba into a trained group of slaves with over 800,000 troops between them. Of which they can safely deploy most of them in Portugal if GB isn't in the picture, which allows for Portugal to wage some serious warfare without actually having done a single thing this game. He hasn't fought a single hard war, he hasn't been at risk the entire game. Like, this is just a disgrace to EU4, honestly. Like, he's not even over his fucking governing capacity. In terms of dev, he has 700 himself. And he's #1 GP. Like, that's 7,000, that's fucking 6,000 dev, basically, under the colonies. And the only thing he's done is colonize. And all of these are players. It's just nuts. And they're not even, like, nerfed effectively enough. Like, he's also been deving them instead of deving himself, which is pretty smart, and leaves him in a much better overall position to dev them. So we're gonna start off with CO1. Fuck me, I'm retarded. There we go. Which is no, which one is it? Is it this one? What the fuck is? I thought this one was CO1. Oh, it's CO00. Yeah, this is the most important of his colonies, the one that allows him to have a free game. The one with 100 heavies and maritime quality. Which leaves him with 10% morale of 20, but 30% morale of navies at the press of a button. Which will put him at much better than GB's stats. Of which we'll look at after this, because we'll see this shit. We got 4.92 tag GBR. 4.4. So Portugal just wins out. And here's the thing though, all of the colonies can also build the flagship that gives you plus fleet morale. So they all just stack that in with Cuba's one, and suddenly those plus 5% add up, and GB doesn't really stand a chance. At least GB has like an actual army they can use, however, at this point. However, there's 800,000 colonials, okay? Like, it's just... I'm not sure why GB allowed Portugal to have all of these colonies. But yeah, GB himself is a very well dev nation. He's got every province in the mainland to 20 dev. Um, I'm thinking now he wants to dev up 13 colonies, maybe use them as a buffer against Mexico. Try and save Louisiana here. However, I don't think it's feasible to save Louisiana. They're kind of fucking dead. Because they got fully occupied for the entirety of the war, and they've got 30 devastation over their entire country. GB didn't use his navy offensively against Portugal in the earlier war, which meant that I couldn't do memey shit like land 30k behind the lines and carpet siege him, because of the poor fort setup. In terms of forts as well, is a kind of fucked up. You want one here, definitely. Cover the crossing. You want one on the islands here, so they can't just land on them and build troops there. I know it costs money, but you've got a lot of money. Okay, your GB with trades did to you. Next idea, trade, 100%. Or religious, I don't know, depends, up to you. Also he's not integrated Brabant. I'm not sure how, that should have been integrated years ago. 100% of the English Channel, and he's getting all of Lubeck, so you can do a double loop here, which leaves me with a lot of money here. In terms of manufactories, he's built all of the ones in the Isles. However, there's a lot more colonial ones he wants to build. You want to wait for a month to tick before you start spamming these, because they'll be actually worth less because of the way how the game saves trade companies and unstated stuff in the current patch. I'm not sure how the fuck this changed, but why the fuck are you improving with Russia? But yeah. GB is just in a very poor diplomatic situation because of how they've chosen to dish out colonies, with Portugal getting literally 7 entire colonial players and you settling with yourself for 3. In my opinion, the ideal England play is go eco first, then go quality, and then kill Portugal with the no, go quantity second, then go quality, and then kill Portugal with the naval morale and quality. And steal his colonies. Also use the Irish mission as well. But yeah, this nation is just, not much he can do. However, he is very well built. He's got all of his training fields. As I said, these will update in the month it takes, so don't build them yet. Regimental camps, he's built most of them. So he's a lot better built than I am, despite also fighting in wars. However, he's fought in a lot less wars. Now, onto the shame of the session. My shame of the session. Hanover. I've eaten a lot of land, you know. Ooh, PogChamp. I've devved a lot of land as well. However, in terms of build-up, I have done fuck all. There's still a lot of workshops I need to build. There's still a lot of manufactories that I need to build. I haven't built a single soldier's household. I've hardly built any universities. I've only built them where I know that I'll be deving soonish. And I wasted 15 years on my Westphalia eating, of which I can repeatedly cycle the truce with using Prussia because of the guarantee. So I'm just going to leave Prussia alive in this OPM inside of me whilst I cycle truces. But yeah, it's just also my manpower is slightly inflated here, I think. Actually, no, never mind, it won't be because I haven't got anything that's not stated. So I have got a very decent amount of manpower despite not having built any training fields. But I have built all of the old ones, so it's something at least. But yeah, I'm very poor as well, unfortunately, because I didn't go trade. This is my greatest shame, going religious here instead of trade and making my own trade money from GB. But yeah, I'd make a lot more money if I'd probably make a better amount of money if I made my own node and was trade ideas. But oh well. I'm running the line very thin here with the amount of crown land I'm allowing, but I'm having to use it to pay off loans because I was fighting Portugal. Kind of got my entire army here, prepped for the war, but I'm outnumbered by Songhai and the Portuguese colonies, so there's not much we can do. It's just unfortunate. Oh well. At least I have the highest average dev.